Alright guys, so welcome to this teaching. In this video, I will be teaching you guys how I use demand and supply zones, right? This is how I use it personally, how I use demand and supply zones. So that is basically the topic for today, right? Demand and supply zones, right? Right. So this is a smart money approach of using it, but I'm going to be using the RCT app, the smart money approach of using it, right? But there are so many ways in which demand and supply zones are used, right? But for me, like personally, I'll teach you guys how I view it, right? Now, note this. What I'm teaching you guys is how I use it and how I was taught. It doesn't mean that this is the only way or the only correct way, right? Someone else might have his own correct method of using it, and that is fine. But for me, this is how I've been able to study it, and it works based on what I have backtested, right? I backtest a lot, right? So based on what I've backtested and what I have studied, this is how I use supply and demand zone, right? So now it's very straight to the point, very simple, and it's not something that will take a lot of time. So basically, when I'm looking at a supply zone, I want to see two candles print, right? I want to see two candles print, right? And then watch something. I want to see these two candles print, and when these two candles are done printing, I want to see something very unique, right? I want to see the markets do something like this. Candles always have wicks, right? So this candle will probably have its wick to the upside, right? And then you see this candle wick, right? So basically, when I'm looking at supply and demand zones, I like to see the wick of this current candle. This for a bearish example now, right? This for a bearish example. So if the market is bearish and I'm looking for a bearish or a supply zone, right? So I like to see the market take out. I like to see the market take out the high of the previous candle. Let's make this black, right? I like to see price take out the high of the previous candle or a previous candle, and when this happens, I like to see the market dump, right? So this is how I look at supply zones, right? I like to see the market create this kind of supply zone, taking out the high of the previous candle, and then do what? Drop aggressively, right? See this, you have see this big impulsive moves. Now, when I see this print, I now classify this as what? A supply zone, right? So my supply zone, I use it in two ways, right? The first way is that I highlight the whole candle, like the whole candle, like as my supply zone, right? I can highlight the whole candle of my supply zone, especially if it's on a lower time frame, right? I can highlight the whole candle as my supply zone. And if I want to be very, very specific, I can take only that week, right? I will take only the week because the buy happened there, market bought, took out the liquidity before dropping down. So I'm either playing the whole candle or I'm playing the week, right? So it depends on the market conditions, right? There are times in which the market condition look good to take the week, and there are times in which the market condition looks good to take what? The whole candle, right? And note, the color of the candle does not matter. Whether it is a bull candle or a bearish candle, the color of the candle does not matter. That means if it's a bullish candle or a bearish candle, it doesn't matter, right? The color of the candle doesn't matter. Right? This is not other blocks, right? Now look at the last red candle. This is not other blocks. This is demand and supply, right? So the color of the candle doesn't matter. It could be a bullish candle that will do this. It could also be a bearish candle that will do this. But you have to just get the point that the market should create this supply zone, and then you want to see the market run away from that. So now this now becomes, so you can either use the whole candle or you just streamline towards where that exact liquidity grab took place, which is was here. So now if the market should come back to that point, now you cannot have a good trade, right? Cannot have what? This is now because your area of interest for yourself. Stop loss above that, and that is not your trade, right? So this now becomes your trade. So if price should come here in the future, the market is able to trade back into that area, maybe something like this. The price trades back there, that's not because your sell entry, and then you can target the new low formed, right? And now I like to see supply zones created with some form of inducement. What do I mean? I like to see the market do something like this. The market make the supply zone. I like to see the market give some kind of pullback, right? Drop and then come back to the supply zone, right? So now when this happens, I now see this as what? An inducement. So I'm like, okay, this is an inducement, right? This is an inducement. This now becomes an inducement, right? This now becomes an inducement for me, right? An inducement, right? And then what? Mitigation. So this now becomes my inducement. So this now becomes an inducement. I think I have an inducement there. Right, so this now becomes an inducement, and then this now becomes the original mitigation. Right, these are basically I like to see. I like to see this in form with some form of inducement before my original entry, right? So let me just show you guys a trade I took with this concept on my Telegram community. I posted a trade idea. So this is my Telegram community now. All right, so you can see the trade I took on Telegram. So this is my Telegram community. If you're not there yet, do want to use the link in the description to join, right? So you can see the trade I took on US30. So let me just click on it. So you can see the trade idea. You can see how price came to my supply zone, and then what happened next. You can see when price was moving from my supply zone, and then finally market hit my take profit, right? Sorry, I had to cover the lot size because I don't like showing figures, right? I like to keep my figures private, right? I don't like showing figures. So basically, that is basically what happens. Just get it. So this is it. This is my FXify account. You can see the arrow sign there. So only FXify accounts have an arrow sign. So FXify is a prop firm which you can get an account with. I also have a referral link in the description. So if you want to get an account with them, you can get the link with them. They are very nice. They have nice spreads. So you can see. So this is my FXify account, and you can see how the market actually hit TP. So I will still go to chat and explain the trade to you. I just want to show you guys that I actually took the trade on a read on my account, right? So this is basically what I'm explaining. Now, everything I explained here also reverts to a bullish example. So and I'll take this to the upside. So for a bullish example, it's still the same thing. The market should take out the low of the previous candle. The market should take out the low of the previous candle, right? And then create that that impulsive move. All right, so I want to see the market create this liquidity grab and then give me my supply, my demand area, and then I'm looking at what's taking my trade after the inversion. I'm targeting what this overall high, right? This is like the one stop for life. It's just a variant of it using demand and supply zone, right? So this is pure demand and supply, right? So now I want to say something. Now, this setup works with 3 criteria. Number one, you have to be in line with the trend. Right? You have to always consider the trend, right? So you have to consider the trend, and you have to consider the time of the day, right? So you want to be very careful of the supply zone you're taking. You want to take actually the time of the day, right? And then you have to look at the structure of the markets, right? So you have to look at the structure. So you must be in line with the trend, the time of the day, and then the structure. So the market has, for instance, like the trade I took, the market was bearish. So trend was bearish. The one I took was bearish. The time of the day was what? New York Stock Exchange, right? NYSE, that is New York Stock Exchange. And then market was what? Bearish. So the structure was also bearish, right? So the trend was bearish, the structure was bearish, and then the time of the day was what? The same thing, right? So let's go to Richard example to explain the trade idea properly, right? So let's go to US30 to give a better understanding. Let's use US30, right? So it's US30. That was what I took. So it's just the same thing. Let me use pepper stone, right? So let's look at the charts. Right, so this was the trade on 30 minutes. All right, guys. So this is the charts. All right, so this was the trade idea. It was here, right? So you can see that's already played out. So let me just explain the trade for you guys. You guys can get it. So remember the step I explained to you guys, right? Remember the step I explained to you guys. Number one, market was bearish to me. Why? because if you look at the 4-hour charts, there was an SMT divergence, right? Or let me go to the 4 hours, so not daily. If you look at the 4-hour charts, you can see that there was an SMT divergence. What do I mean? If you compare this with the Nasdaq, right? If you compare it with the Nasdaq, right? Nasdaq is the one that is below, right? So if you compare it with the Nasdaq, you can see that Nasdaq made a high. Sorry, Nasdaq made a high while US30 failed to make a high. This is what I call SMT divergence, right? So that I call SMT divergence. So I call SMT divergence, right? So I call SMT divergence. So you can see that Nasdaq made a high while US30 did not make a high, right? You can see, if you compare it here, you can see there was a high made, there was no high made here. Why on this guy there was a high made? So that indicates bearish Nasdaq, right? So I was bearish because of that. So if you want better explanation on that, you can always check other videos I've made on SMT divergence, right? I made some videos on it, right? You can check my playlist. You can see other videos I made on SMT divergence, right? So there was an SMT divergence there. And now if you go to the 30-minute chart, or let's say the 1-hour chart, there was a bearish structure there. What do I mean? Or let's say what 30-minute chart, right? So there was a bearish structure there. What do I mean? That there is a bearish structure there. You can see that the market gave a kind of bearish break. There was a kind of bearish break here, right? And not only that, look at the immediate structure. There was also another bearish break. Price closed below this low. So you can see the market closed below this low. You show this chart very carefully. Market closed below this low. That is bearishness. We had our higher high, higher low, and then our higher high, right? Market closed. This was a bearish break. And then where was our inducement? Where was our inducement? So what are inducements here? So that is inducement. We had our first inducement here, right? This was our inducement. We also had another inducement right here. So this week here formed. See this week formed right here. So can you see that 2 inducements formed? And what happened? We had our supply zone. So this was our supply zone. This candle here, that's our supply zone, right? Can you remember I told you guys that the week I have to take out the week of the previous candle and also give what that bearish market break of structures, right? So we had this liquidity grab, we had our inducement form there, and then we saw price come to hit our supply zone. So you can start. This trade was a 1:8.5 out trade. So I made about 1:8.5 out on this. So this was a trade area, very very beautiful trade. So my stop loss was above that high, right? And you can see my entry was just at the supply zone there. Right? I was targeting this low, right? I was targeting this low, right? Because I was targeting this low. Okay, my stop loss just very quick above it. Very tiny stop loss. Very tiny stop loss. That's what I used. So my entry was a bit inside, right? So it was something like this, and that was it. So it was actually a 1:8 out trade for me. As it was actually a 1:8 out trade for me, and it was very beautiful, right? Beautiful 1:8. So I don't know why I'm not getting the price levels right on this chart, but it was 1:8 for me, right? It was 1:8 trade for me. So that is basically how I caused the trade. It's very very easy, and you can go and back test this information. Make sure that you're following the trend. Once the market gives that structural, once that inducement form before the supply zone. Remember, if you want to see an inducement form before the supply zone, makes it very high probability, right? Inducement has to form before the supply zone, makes it very high probability. And then this was an overall 1:10 trade, right? But I'm sure that 1:16 if I actually put my correct limit and all of that. Right? So once again, see the trade again. Once again, see the trade on my channel. So you can see the trade once again. So you can see it once again. You can see when I enter the trade. So when I enter, you can see my entry. You can see my stop loss there. You can see this. You can see the timestamp there. It's a screenshot. I can't manipulate this on MT5. You can see when it was moving, and then market finally hit my take profit. You can see with your own eyes, right? So I went break even at this point here. I took partial and then I went break even. So It's a very nice trade, right? So that is basically how I caught the 8.5 out trade today, trading US30, right? So I wish to see you guys in more videos. If you want to join my paid mentorship, right? I have a paid mentorship, an annual paid mentorship, right? So I have an annual paid mentorship, right? So you can use the link in the description to join us. Just use the link in the description to join us. It just goes for a sum of 50,000 naira only, as of speaking. Just 50,000 for 1 year, right? It's not a lot of money. Just you can learn with us, have access to my videos right from 2021, have access to me, have a chance to get funded the profile account for free, and all of that, right? So that's basically all for this video, right? So see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful day. Cheers and God bless.